Welcome to Weekly Digest, where we highlight the work of ministers of government as they push the administration's development agenda. Picking up from where we left off last week, the batch of 80,000 doses of the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine Covishield, gifted by the government of India, arrived in Ghana on Sunday last at the Chedi Jagan International Airport, CJIA. Prime Minister the Honourable Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips, who is also the coordinator of the National COVID-19 Task Force, says the vaccines will see the rolling out of Phase 2 of the government's efforts to combat the pandemic. Phase 1 saw measures being put in place to boost the capacity of healthcare facilities to deal with the spread, tracing and treatment of persons who contracted COVID-19.
While we thank the government of India for providing the vaccine, there's an opportunity for me to appeal to the Guyanese people to come forward and take the vaccine. We have a priority which starts with the frontline workers. We want to vaccinate our medical people who are the frontline workers. We want to vaccinate our elderly. We want to vaccinate our joint services and teachers. But we will acquire more vaccines and we will reach out to every Guyanese.
Also on Sunday, members of Diamond's newly constituted Community Development Council, CDC, were urged to work in unison for the betterment of the neighborhood. This charge was made by a minister within the office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for public affairs, the Honourable Kwame McCoy, during a community engagement.
It is work that makes you feel happy at the end of the day, that you're able to achieve things for your community and the bigger picture, your country overall. Because if we have these kind of efforts bit by bit in several communities across our country, we would make steady progress in terms of taking our country to the highest levels of development.
Prime Minister the Honourable Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips on Monday engaged the Board of Directors of the Ghana Power and Light Incorporated on the recent blackouts across Region 3 and parts of Region 4. Prime Minister Phillips says blackouts are due to a poorly maintained electricity grid which the power utility company is trying to rectify.
We've inherited a transmission and distribution system that, frankly speaking, should have gone through continuous maintenance over the last 5 years. My understanding is that the maintenance schedule over the last 5 years has not been consistent. So we're at a stage now where we're doing a lot of corrective maintenance work.
Meanwhile, Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, the Honourable Deodat Indar, noted that maintenance remains a priority as the company works to rectify the issues within the transmission network.
I just would like to assure the Guyanese people that we are seriously looking into some of the faults. There are other areas which we are looking into, which is the inspection, putting more focus on the inspection and preventative maintenance.
GPL anticipates the transmission network along the East Bank and East Coast Demerara corridors will be stabilized over the next 3 weeks. An investment of $54 million into the Ghana National Bureau of Standards, GNBS, will see the enhancement of its testing capabilities in the area of oil and gas. Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, the Honourable Onij Walren, has expressed excitement over this new development.
Yeah, and the National Bureau of Standards, they are expanding their capacity to facilitate the oil and gas industry, and they're going to be doing testing of the crude oil. And before, foreign companies would have to outsource this, send the crude oil abroad to test it. So we at the GNBS are now going to have the capacity to do the crude oil testing right here at home.
In keeping with government's goal to ensure a diversified economy, focus continues to be placed on tourism, small business, agriculture and other sectors. Minister Walren says the GNBS will be able to facilitate the rice industry, particularly in the area of testing. With this new development, it is anticipated that Ghana's agriculture products will become more competitive on the international market. Regional health officers, RHOs, are critical to government achieving a successful COVID-19 immunization program. This view was expressed by Minister of Health, the Honourable Dr. Frank Anthony, on Tuesday as he opened a 2-day training in clinical treatment guidelines for RHOs.
It seems that we are in a race against time too in terms of administering these vaccines, and that's one of the things that while we're dealing with treatment, one of the things that we all want to do is to help to prevent the infection from occurring. And if we are going to really get out of this pandemic, then vaccines are one way that can help us to do so.
Minister Anthony reminded the RHOs that the aim is to achieve herd immunity.
And to get there, most of the experts are saying we probably have to immunize about 70 to 80% of our population. So it is going to be a challenge, and therefore one of the things that we want to encourage all the doctors who are here to help us with is to encourage people to take the vaccines.
Minister of Health, the Honourable Dr. Frank Anthony, says no one will lose their job if they decline taking the COVID-19 vaccine. Minister Anthony made this statement during Tuesday's COVID-19 update. He said, too, that no one will ever be pressured to take the dose if they were not comfortable doing so. While he expressed hope that everyone gets immunized, the minister says no frontline worker should be fearful.
Well, health workers have an option. They can either take the vaccine, or if they don't want to take it, that's okay too. But our job as a ministry is and as a government, is to be able to offer them the vaccine, and it's their choice whether they like to have the vaccine or not. You would recall that the President has said that we are not making this mandatory.
Minister Anthony noted, however, that due to the high risk they face daily, he hopes all frontline workers would take the COVID-19 vaccine. Residents of Enterprise and Success on the east coast of Demerara will soon benefit from upgraded roads and other infrastructure. Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, the Honourable Gov't Indar, made the announcement on Tuesday while inspecting ongoing works in both communities.
The roads have problems. Obviously, the bridge they're using to connect Enterprise Garden to Enterprise proper, at the back there, the two bridges there, one of them is shaking. Then on the other side, between Nonpareil connecting to Enterprise, where the school children have to sojourn to a long distance and then come back and go to the school and do the same thing to come home. We will be connecting a footpath bridge there too, so that it'll be easy and faster to get to school.
Minister Indar says there will be sectional repairs on the main access road under the ministry's maintenance program. Revetment works along the main access road will also be conducted. Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, the Honourable Charles Ramson Jr., says several community grounds will be transformed into mini parks through the ministry's ground enhancement project. The disclosure was made by the minister during an inspection of the Success Community Ground on the east coast of Demerara.
We're changing the orientation of many of the grounds because the population is changing, their expectations are changing. So some of the grounds we're actually going to turn into parks. We've already started to engage with the Cornelia Ida community to turn that ground into a park, something equivalent to a smaller version of the national park.
Minister Ramson added that the grounds would be designed to also cater for older folks who may utilize it for leisure and social purposes. Indigenous leaders from across the country on Wednesday received training through the Ministry of Legal Affairs Restorative Justice Program. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Senior Counsel Mohamed Anil Nandlal says restorative justice now digs deeper into the underlying factors that may have led to a criminal act.
Restorative justice in this part of the world is maybe considered new, but it is one of the innovations that the experts have come up with to deal with criminal behavior, violent conduct, deviant conduct, etc. It has been found that the traditional theories and methods of dealing with criminal behavior and violent conduct have not yielded the results anticipated.
The indigenous leaders are among a range of other groups, including teachers, religious leaders, and judicial and probation officers to be trained. Guyanese and visitors alike will soon be able to enjoy the use of the Parliament Square, following a move by the Central Housing and Planning Authority, CHNPA, to rehabilitate the park. Minister of Housing and Water, the Honourable Colin Crowell, accompanied by the Ministry's Permanent Secretary and CHNPA's Chief Executive Officer, toured the neglected recreational park on Wednesday. Minister Crowell says a lot of work has to be done to improve the standard of the facility, which was under the management of the Georgetown Mayor and City Council.
To the further south, you have the entire washroom area is damaged. In fact, in the night it's now overrun with vagrants utilizing that facility and whatever else. Right out the damage to the fence facility, you have missing gates. There are at least 2 missing gates, and I can see some of the missing grill. The fountain, non-functional. There's no actually, except just the concrete structure for the wall, nothing else. The lights here, you can see they're all damaged, and not even stolen, just damaged, physically damaged.
The minister says the park would be upgraded and properly fenced to provide a safe, healthy environment for visitors. The government has taken a decision for management and ownership of the urban park to be retransferred to the CHNPA. Guyana continues to be in the global spotlight, owing to its unique ecotourism product. The country is now ranked as one of the top 9 destinations in Latin America by Wanderlust magazine. Wanderlust magazine highlighted that Guyana's indigenous communities have created their own sustainable tourism products, such as eco-lodges and guided tours. The low-carbon lifestyle, commitment to protecting ancestral lands, and wildlife conservation efforts make Guyana's tourism one of the greenest on the planet. Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, the Honourable Onij Walren, expressed excitement at the possibilities available through tourism.
It continues to reinforce that Guyana is still a world changer. Guyana is still first and foremost in terms of our ecotourism product. We have won several awards, and we have not lost that position.
Wanderlust magazine also featured the Riwa Eco Lodge as an example of one of Guyana's most established community projects. Government is staying true to its manifesto promise of making housing more affordable. On Wednesday, it formally handed over the mortgage ceiling increase approval to the New Building Society, NBS Limited. The approval will see the ceiling for housing loans increase from $12 million to $15 million. Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, the Honourable Dr. Ashney Singh, says government recognizes the importance of home ownership.
We continue to believe very strongly that home ownership is extremely important at an individual household level, but also at an aggregate economic level. And I'm going to come back to that in a minute. And it is for this reason that we have developed a comprehensive menu of measures and policies aimed at facilitating home ownership.
Minister of Housing and Water, the Honourable Colin Crowell, expressed similar views.
This signals, from government's perspective, our deep underlying intention of ensuring that we bring greater relief to our homeowners, potential borrowers, but also walking the walk.
During the formal ceremony, Chairman of NBS, Mr. Floyd McDonald, announced that effective April 1, there will be a deduction in mortgage rates as low as 4% per annum. He says this is part of NBS catering to the needs of government's housing drive. Minister of Education, the Honourable Priya Manikchan, on Thursday announced that the 2021 National Grade 6 Assessment will be written in early August. Some 14,300 students are expected to sit the exams.
The 2021 NGSA will be written on August 4th and 5th, 2021. Candidates will write papers 1 and 2. There will be 2 mock examinations administered leading up to the official examination dates.
Minister Manikchan says a 20-week curriculum will be used to prepare students for the exams. Minister Manikchan says the ministry is committed to providing support by providing educational resources to both teachers and students. Students in both public and private schools will receive a package containing worksheets, learning material, and past papers to help them prepare for the exams. Teachers will also continue to interact with students virtually as schools remain closed. Minister of Housing and Water, the Honourable Colin Crowell, is reassuring residents in communities along the east bank of Demerara of government's commitment to improving the delivery and quality of water they receive. With that, he said the tenders for the drilling of an $80 million well at Providence will be out next week.
Here at Providence, because with the opening of our road in the not too distant future of the access roads, I will also see opening of number of land areas and even expansion. So East Bank itself, because GWI have about 22,000 plus customers alone already on the East Bank. So East Bank itself, we will have to keep upgrading the system, keep improving the level of the service that's being provided, because here too will become saturated eventually.
A well will also be dug at Prospect by the end of the year. The sum of $61 million will also be going towards the upgrading of 3 water treatment plants on the East Bank to improve the quality of water residents receive. The Ministry of Finance on Friday afternoon handed over 5 all-terrain vehicles to the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs to improve accessibility in the Hinterland regions. In brief remarks, Senior Minister within the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, said that this small initiative is part of a broader agenda.
Our government is firmly committed not just to delivering economic development in Guyana, but delivering broad-based economic development across all regions of Guyana. And so we place very great emphasis on promoting the development of the economy, not just on the coast, not just in the main urban centers, but also throughout the coast and throughout the hinterland of Guyana, throughout all 10 of our regions.
Minister of Amerindian Affairs, the Honourable Pauline Sukai, noted the vehicles will greatly benefit the communities in the regions.
Across the hinterland, there's need for improving transportation, and as Dr. Ashni said, it serves as a medium of connectivity also. But it also is a very important mode of transportation for other reasons.
3 ATVs will be assigned to Region 8, 1 to Region 9, and 1 to Region 1. Agriculture Minister, the Honourable Zulfikar Mustafa, on Wednesday charged senior staff at the National Agricultural Research and Extension Institute, NARI, to collaborate and implement fresh policies in keeping with government's agenda for the food sector. The minister was at an engagement to introduce Mr. Jagnarine Singh as the new Acting Chief Executive Officer of the agency.
If we want to take our rightful place regionally and internationally, then institution like NARI has to play a very important role. That is why we now have to strategize, we have to come up with innovative ideas, and we have to implement the policies of the government.
Following that meeting, Minister Mustafa visited the Burma Rice Research Station in Region 5 to witness the harvesting process of a quantity of the zinc candidate biofortified rice variety. Transformation of the Lethem Airdrome into a regional hub is now closer to realization, with the Ministry of Public Works commissioning the $185 million new and extended runway on Friday. The new and extended runway now allows for larger aircraft to land at the Lethem Airport. Minister of Public Works, the Honourable Bishop Juan Edgell, said the runway would facilitate a new wave of development in Lethem and Region 9 as a whole.
The intent of Lethem's aerodrome, and my engineers have advised me that the design for the terminal building, which would bring the next wave of development, you're not just landing now and huddling after a minibus, but you can have international check-in, processing of passports, proper customs, flights coming from South America and going to South America. Guyana is strategically placed as a link between the Caribbean and South America.
Minister Edgell says this will complement the construction of the Linden to Mabura Road, for which over $32 billion was earmarked. He says government is also engaging the private sector for the construction of a bridge across the Kurpakari River. Director General of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Lieutenant Colonel Retired Egbert Field, Chief Executive Officer of gov't, Mr. Peter Ramsroop, Regional Chairman Mr. Brian Allicock, and Mayor of Lethem, Mr. John Macedo, were also in attendance. Minister of Agriculture, the Honourable Zulfikar Mustafa, says his ministry will take stern action against employees who are found guilty of mistreating farmers and other residents who seek assistance from the public offices and agencies. The minister made these remarks during an engagement with several farmers and residents of Mora Point, Maikoni Creek, Region 5. Many farmers have reported the difficulty they faced when seeking assistance recently at the Mahaika Maikoni Abari Agriculture Development Authority.
We can't get people like those who chasing people and trying to assault people. We'll deal with it. And I'll launch an investigation.
Minister Mustafa says good service to the people is key and nothing less would be tolerated. That's it for this edition of Weekly Digest. For these and other government-related information, do log on to our website dpi.gov.gy and our social media platforms as well. Goodbye.